With us here on this South African morning now, global warming has arrived with a vengeance, I'm afraid. It will raise average temperatures 1.5 degrees above pre-industrial levels by the year 2030. It's a decade earlier than projected just 3 years ago. That's how much damage we are causing to our planet. All of this data is according to a landmark UN report published on Monday. Let's get some reaction and hopefully some kind of plan as to what we can all do. Greenpeace Africa climate and energy campaigner Thandile Chinyavanhu joining us. Thandile, good morning. Thanks very much for your time. We understand as well the UN Secretary General of the United Nations saying this document they're talking about, calling it Code Red for humanity. It is almost getting to a point, isn't it, Thandile, where we're going to have no chance of saving our home, are we?
Good morning, and thank you so much for having me. Yes, it is indeed a comprehensive piece of research that has distilled over 14,000 studies, individual studies, into a 4,000-page document, and it definitely should signal an end for the fossil fuel industry, but we do need to remember that they have been able to thrive despite the science being available to them for a long period of time. But I think what's most important for us to remember is that this report, as much as it may seem dire, and that reaching the tipping point may feel inevitable, the research does not say that. In fact, this is not the time for climate fatalism, but rather a time for climate action. There is still hope to stabilize the climate so long as our decision makers can really take decisive actions to slash emissions immediately.
Let's talk about our decision makers, particularly those here in South Africa. When it comes to decisions around climate change, how would you rate our decision makers in this country? Good job, bad job, and what else should they be doing to try and move in the right direction?
Well, it's quite clear that our political leaders lack the political will to actually bring about decisive change. And what we've noticed is that there's definitely a move towards climate gradualism. As we try to campaign for more climate action, they are accepting that climate change is a reality, but they definitely are not comfortable with the pace that we need to move at, and are trying to allow for corporates such as Sasol or Eskom to wring out as much financial returns as they can before actually making decisive change around climate.
So when it comes to this argument, Thandile, and I'm sure it's one that you've had many, many times, of course, when we talk about Eskom, we talk about Sasol, we all enjoy the good things in life, such as having electricity when Eskom isn't using load shedding and power cuts when we occasionally have power, and of course Sasol for things like fuel. What do you tell people when they say, yes, I want to be environmentally friendly, but I also want to drive a big V8 because I have the money to do it. I want to enjoy the good things in life. Well, where do we stand on the argument? What do you tell them?
Well, the reality is that the technology is available to live a more sustainable life, alternative to what we are currently living. But we just need access to that data, and we need our government to start investing heavily into that. So we've seen a great uptake in renewable energy over the past couple of years. And in fact, renewable energy is the cheapest form of energy to pursue right now. So any further reliance on coal is simply an economical one, where they want to bring out the benefits of the economical benefits of coal. But otherwise, it has no benefits for the health impacts of the borderline communities that are living in these areas, nor does it have any good impacts for us as South Africans that continue to experience load shedding. And we are seeing a great increase in electrical vehicles on the market. So those who want to drive the R8, as you mentioned, may be able to access those eventually. So it is just a matter of us changing our lifestyle. We need to remember that about 70% of the global emissions are as a result of just 100 companies, one of them actually being our South African Sasol. So it's important that they make sure that it is not a personal responsibility that we have to reduce our carbon footprint. It is the responsibility of these companies to make the changes so that we can live a more sustainable lifestyle and a more enjoyable one and future forward.
Well, I appreciate your time in speaking to us, and hopefully someone watching today is going to be able to go and do something to try and pull down their carbon emissions, their carbon dioxide levels as well. What a pleasure to have you with us this morning. It is a Greenpeace Africa Climate and Energy campaigner, Thandile Chinyavanhu, joining us here on eNCA. All right, let's speak